Welcome to another edition of Rivals. I'm Scott Mitchell. He's Jason Buck. Rivals has arrived. We're going to go to that school down south.
Talking about the Cougs.
Talking about the Cougs. All right, so Jason, Kalani Sitake's first year, he goes 9-4. Mm-hmm. Everyone's excited. Things look like they're really on the rise. Yeah. He's got a lot of former players, great players from BYU. Ty Detmers, his offensive coordinator. Then next year shows up. Probably the worst season in Cougar history since probably the maybe early 70s, late 60s.
Late 60s.
Brutal season. Yeah. They win 4 games. Basically fire the entire staff except for one coach. Bring in Jeff Grimes. And now they start off the season in a huge fashion with wins at Arizona, against Wisconsin. Then they falter against Northern Illinois. They falter at Washington. They lose to Utah State. And it's been, they're 5-5.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this season so far? Has this been a good season for BYU? Do you think people in Cougar Nation are happy about this? Where is the state of the Cougars today?
You know what? I don't think, the state of Cougar Nation is particularly happy or even content, really. I mean, look, they're going to go to a bowl game. They should beat New Mexico State this week. And then, beat Utah.
Okay.
He gives me that look like, okay. But no, but they're going to end up going to bowl game, right? They're going to end up 6-6 most likely.
Do you think that they could beat BYU? BYU could beat Utah this year?
You know what? It's a 5-10% chance. I mean, it's to be honest.
What would it take for BYU to beat Utah?
You know what? They got to come out with a game plan like I saw them come out with against Wisconsin.
Which was what?
Which was, you know what? They came out, and I just really liked. They came in with a big package, 2 big tights, and ran the ball, a lot of fly motion and eye backs, and really did simple passing, and controlled the ball and didn't have a bunch of turnovers, and played field position, and we're in the game, and won it. And so I think they come out with a game plan like that and slow it down and keep it close. They could have a chance to be in it. With Utah falling asleep a little bit.
Do you really think he believes this, folks?
Hey, I am going pro BYU right now. Hey, is BYU the underdog in that game? Absolutely, they are. The program is not where it was, in the 80s.
All right, so this has been a good year.
It's been a solid, for them to get to a bowl game, it's not a complete disaster. So it's an improvement from last year, going to a bowl game, that part of it. There wasn't as much, you didn't hear as much disarray from the locker room and the discipline issues that they had last year. So it sounds like they've cleaned that up a little bit. There's some improvements in it, but, the program's not in a strong state. It's just not right now. So it's good news they're going to bowl game. I don't think it's enough to say you want to keep Kalani as head coach. He's got
really?
No. They'll probably keep him.
How much time do you give him then?
Well, I think any outside of BYU, because of the system we are at BYU, and there's not a lot of LDS head coaches out there in the market, you get him an extra year. So, but I think he'd be gone this year if he was at any other program. So he'll probably have another year, and he'll have to have a real solid year next year. But
what would be a solid year next year?
He's got to have 8 wins next year.
8 wins?
I'd say 8 wins.
Is the schedule conducive to 8 wins?
No.
Oh.
It is not conducive to 8 wins when you look at the schedule.
Why not?
Oh, my gosh. You look at what is it? They go in, they have Tennessee, right? USC. Early. What are some of the others off the top of my head? I mean, you look at the first 6-7 games, and you're like, wait, they could
play Utah early next year.
That's it. Utah early. So you go Utah, Tennessee, USC. I mean, they go boom, 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 and I mean.
Well, so if you have 12 games,
like
you might have lost the first 3.
Yeah.
And so now you have 9 games left. And you're saying you got to win 8 of those 9 games to actually have an improvement over.
It doesn't look pretty for next year, and the recruiting is. I'm worried about where the program is at this point. Honestly, I'm just really worried about it.
So I have a solution for all of this. I really do. I have a solution.
This is scary coming from the youth.
And you.
But I think Scott's being sincere though. I know.
You may scoff at this on the surface, but after you think about it for a little while, you might go, you know what? There's some legitimacy to this. There really is. And I'm okay. So I look at BYU, and I go, no conference. So what was great about the Lavelle era was, like, they didn't play a lot of great teams. Like it's kind of like Utah State is right now.
Yeah.
They played a bunch of average teams and beat the heck out of them.
And
then had maybe 2 or 3 real games in a season.
Yeah.
And they usually won maybe 1 or 2 of those games, or sometime, the national championship.
They go 1-1.
National championship
2-1.
Right? And those games were like a Washington, or they might be UCLA or some of those teams, and that was exciting, and that was big. And then the BYU fans are going, oh, we're awesome, we're so good, and then they beat a UCLA and they say, hey, here we've arrived, because Utah went through that same thing. It's like, I think of when Utah was in the Mountain West and they played Oregon State, and it was the blackout game. It was like the big game of the year, and now Oregon State is like, that's like a checked win on your Pac-12 schedule.
Yeah,
they're just
a nothing game.
Yeah,
now
it's a nothing game now. So the excitement of the BYU era was being in a conference. So the fact that they're independent is really challenging. And I remember hearing you the first time you brought it up, and I was like, wow, that's a great point. And I was always coming from the perspective of, well, you're independent, you might as well own it. But it's better to be in a conference. It's totally better, and I really agree with that.
Proven out.
So that's a challenge, right? The honor code is a challenge.
Yeah.
And the challenge with the honor code today is that it's just more, there's more attention to it as far as there's social media and attention, not attention to the honor code, the attention to the players. And a lot of their social life could be kind of under wraps in the past.
Right.
Jim McMahon could kind of hide a lot of Jim McMahon things.
And a lot of my friends.
And a lot of other players. Because there wasn't the exposure to social media at the time.
Yeah, no question that's more difficult.
So it's not the honor code's changed, or it's not. It's just that the exposure these players are getting from social media. It's like Nick Emery.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of his challenges with the basketball team may have gone completely unnoticed had there not been social media. And I understand his marital situation, influenced that to some degree.
Yeah,
but I believe that there's a challenge with the honor code. I also believe that there's I don't want to get into this
because we're going to do this. We're going to talk really in depth on this in the audio version.
So we have an audio version of this. And you're going to want to listen.
Because everything you're bringing up, Scott, I really believe I have good solutions to.
Right. So how do you create how do you create the solution for that?
Yeah.
And being in a conference, the honor code, and the inability to recruit. And I think there's a solution. And you're going to love the solution. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You got to tune in. It's called a tease. And I'm teasing you right now. In fact, I'm teasing you with this POS beard I have going on right now.
I love it. We're looking more and more alike. Look.
I know. I looked at the monitor. I'm like, oh my goodness, I've succumbed to the Jason influence.
The Viking.
Actually, the truth is it's No Shave November.
Yeah.
And we, of course, we're doing a thing to help out. Well, at least I am.
I'm doing it.
Yeah. And so
I'm not
we want you to sponsor our beard and donate money to the Huntsman Cancer Institute.
Yes.
So great cause. Having a lot of fun with it, but I'm going to tell you, it's driving me bananas.
But you know what? Tune into our audio version of this, because we're going to go very much in depth in the solutions for BYU's future that we believe. And if you want the truth and some really the great sages here, I really think we have the answer, or some very good answers to BYU's problems.
So my feeling about where BYU is this year is, just kind of getting back to that topic.
Yeah.
I don't know that the coach change will really do anything. I think BYU is going to be fighting kind of 6-6, 7-5, maybe 8-4,
5-6,
as long as this structure goes on.
No championships,
and the schedule and all that stuff, and the future schedules aren't going to be any easier.
The right coach could help it and change a bit, but there's a lot of other problems.
There's some major challenges there, and so I think maybe BYU fans need to kind of temper their expectations of here's the present status of the BYU football program, and that's unfortunate.
It's really totally unfortunate. It's really just eats at your gut and your heart from the old alumni to even think of that. But I agree that at the moment they need to temper their expectations. Under the current leadership, what they're doing, the direction, the coaching, the whole formula they have going at the moment is not going to produce what Cougar Nation wants to see produced.
It's called facing the brutal realities of your situation.
Can it be fixed? Yes,
yeah,
it can
sure.
be fixed.
But who knows when and who knows how at this present time, really. I mean, there's no immediate fix to this in the future, although we do have a suggestion. All right, this edition of Rivals is now over.
We're off to our corners just for a little bit.
I'm not Jason Buck.
And I'm not Scott Mitchell.
But we are related, believe it or not. You look at us and you go, yeah, we can kind of see a resemblance.
Hey, family history, genealogy, man. Yeah. We got it done.
You can text Rivals to 65537. You can go to those social sites and like us. Dial us in on that little smartphone of yours. And until then, we'll catch you soon.